Talofa love everyone and welcome to Organic Talanoa. My name is Aogamalie Sione Sione and I'd like to welcome you to the podcast of Organic Talanoa. In this episode, I'm joined by my fellow T4U, fitness training member Leo'o TJ Taotua, who is a well-known singing artist, a businessman and a fellow New Zealand-born Samoan Matai. Leoo TJ's stories are of how his passion for music uplifted people and gave them the good feel vibes. You will hear his own health journey and how this has helped his mental wellness and many more. I hope you find something interesting and meaningful in this Organic Talanoa to support you in your journey in life.
This one's for you and you and you. And you and you and you. This one's for you and you and you.
Well, welcome on board to Organic Talanoa, Leo'o Tj Taotua, known by everybody as TJ, so we'll keep with TJ also. So
Thank you.
I was saying, thanks for your patience, bro. Like, 'cause it's more around, it's like that waiting before you actually get your tatau done for that session. A bit of anxiety, like what's happening. So obviously the ones who have had the tatau, we all understand that feeling. But good to get to this point, bro. Like be able to have the talanoa. So
Thank you for the opportunity.
you know, like everybody understands around your musical, but it's like your inspiration. Like we just want to know your story. Can go in depth, bro. You can just talk about anything outside of music. But yeah, just sort of how it's helped you. I guess one mentally, probably even in support of your family, because I know you're a businessman too, you know. And then outside of that is probably touching on how the space of New Zealand-born Matai is another one. As I know, you have those titles there. So yeah, bro, always good to get the insights, brother.
Those are some loaded questions, Aogamalie. So the first one is in terms of the music journey?
Yeah, just take us, because I'd say don't have anything down, bro, but like the other conversations just going to come out from the rest of those. So let's start off music, man.
Music, yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, I suppose when I was 11 years old, parents split up when we were younger, about 8, and then we grew up Methodist, but then my mum kind of ventured out into the Pentecostal church. That was my first time that I kind of sort of entered into a sort of a church that had instruments and was quite loud in the way that they worship, and that kind of just caught me in terms of the music side of things. I picked up a guitar and then just started learning, and then pretty much from 11 years old right through till till I was 27, I was just church every week playing, and then kind of naturally sort of flowed into college, and won a few RockQuest events and put in for different competitions and so forth, and then that was a natural progression out into leaving college and into university, but then started kind of doing the covers scene in Wellington, and so the cover scene usually is weddings and corporate functions and birthdays and whatever type of event that people are looking for entertainment. So did that for sort of a good 10 years, but then I just started to kind of sort of realize, oh shucks, you can actually sort of make a living out of it, and so started a business, a company, and then started to create different products that would add value to a client. And so if it was a wedding client, if they couldn't afford a band, you'd have a 3-piece. If you couldn't afford a 3-piece, you could do a duo or solo. And so you just had a whole bunch of different sort of options for clients, depending on their budget. But I always knew that the size of New Zealand, 4 or 5 million people, you just couldn't sort of sustain it, as a full-time. I mean, you probably could if you're single and couch surfing or something, but when you got a family and you're trying to sort of feed kids and pay your mortgage, you kind of have to make sure that there's sort of consistent income, and then you've got your passive, other sort of streams of income that are sort of all helping towards that. And so it was kind of sort of organic in my 20s, because I was still trying to sort of chase that All Black dream, hoping for that overseas contract to come through, which never eventuated. And then my wife got a job in Auckland, and then we shifted up here, and then I just saw just a totally new market and opportunity with so much more people, so much more opportunities, and so set up another company, and then just started pushing the music from there and releasing music, and just constantly trying to sort of balance life with music and kids and family and your 9 to 5 as well. So that's kind of just been in a nutshell the music journey for me.
Because I could touch there, I could hear through there that you're actually more Wellingtonian born and raised compared to coming up into Auckland. So I guess who you ripping, bro?
Man, Hurricanes all day, all day. Grew up in Porirua, schooled in town, St. Patrick's College, and came through the grades, playing rugby, Premier Rugby, and so that has been a sort of a special part of my journey too, because the sports space, as you would know, it teaches you a lot of transferable skills, teamwork, commitment. There's some lifelong friends that you've been able to make throughout taking the field and that journey of almost like that sort of analogy of going to war, and then the sort of the social side that comes with that as well, as you would know, but that's all part and parcel of your journey, as a young person trying to kind of crack it in rugby, but as with Polynesian and Pacific young men, I mean it's quite a competitive space. So there's very small percentages of people that kind of climb the ladder. But I've been sort of really blessed to kind of play alongside some some really talented people that I've learned a lot of stuff through as well. So again, although a lot of people see me as the TJ the music person, I still hold a special place in that rugby space, because it's all part of your sort of organic journey in life, and helps you with the different skill sets that that are transferable into any sort of space in your journey.
I kind of relate a lot, bro, with in terms of finding an avenue that sort of takes your mind off things that sort of happening in your own life, like in terms of parents being broken, like for the same situation. Mine was I'm glad I fell into sports, and then that sort of kept me on the track a bit, because you're probably like me, we could have easily have gone off, bro, and could have been doing something else totally different. But I just always come back to it, and I think about how with music, like when you picked up the guitar and you came out with that sort of settled you a bit, like come sort of going into that avenue, and then from now, like everybody knows who TJ Taotua is. Your stuff's on the YouTube. So
it's an interesting question in the sense, when I was at college, I was kind of like one of those kids that tried to, didn't really sort of fully understand committing to one thing, so I'd be in the volleyball team and also in the basketball team and trying to play rugby and trying to do music, but so I was just trying to just do as much as I could and just fit everything in at the same time, doing a bit of athletics as well. And I suppose I kind of said to myself at that time that when I weighed up the rugby and the music, I just said, rugby, based on what we've been seeing from guys that were playing ahead of us, man, you'll be lucky to get a 5-year window, if you didn't get injured. I mean, very few people, the guys that make a 10-year window out of their career, man, they're the ones that are real lucky. But, man, some guys come in, all hopes, and then the year, Achilles or knee, then you're gone. Yeah. So I just weighed those two things up, and I said I could do music forever, until I die. But rugby, realistically, in my 20s, that's probably the only window. So I pretty much just did music for fun, really, when in my early 20s, and try to push rugby for that 10-year period. And then pretty much when had an Achilles injury, got it operated on, and then my wife Linda got a job in Auckland, an opportunity. And then when we came to Auckland, that's when I made the decision to kind of like really focus on the music. Yeah, so I didn't know what to expect, but then just put out some music online, started putting out some YouTube videos, and just one thing led to another. And
TikTok-y.
TikTok is the natural progression, evolution of content. So that's been good to kind of just try and sort of be active and on different platforms. So because all those different platforms all have different audiences and different demographics. So and it's good to kind of understand, learn about those things, so that you can kind of get yourself in front of more people to hopefully generate more business.
I guess I touch back with the music and how you get people to express themselves in it. And I think you'd done some work with some schools, and it was around storytelling as well. Bro, you when you look at that, like at least you've kind of tapped into an avenue that kids love music, but I think part of that project was you let them try to tell their story, but you help them try to put in the musicals. It's very, wouldn't it go on a bit about that? That was cool what you had done with some of the schools.
How that all came about is I have 3 daughters. One of my oldest daughter came home from school. She was really distraught. She was crying, went to her room, and then, once she sort of calmed down a bit, asked her what had happened. She said that she got bullied by a couple of boys in school, and so as the natural sort of response or reaction of a Samoan dad.
You're gonna kill him.
Take it into your own hands and do something. But I just thought, step back and how do I use my tools that I have to kind of bring about a positive change in this. So so I went to the school and said, hey, look, I'm a musician. Why don't we write a song around anti-bullying? Bring those kids in this class and bring different kids that you want to be a part of it. So that empower them to write the lyrics, get the theme, put some melody to it. Create a beat with some well-known beat makers. Got a videographer to come in and shoot the video around the school, and got the kids to kind of storyboard the video, and then we put the video out on Facebook. We didn't know what to expect. Kind of did a little viral run on Facebook, and then it got to some government people that said, hey, we want to fund 50 grand to do another 5 schools. So I said, oh man. And so we did another 5 schools, South Auckland, and the whole thing was really empowering young people to tell their story through music, and to sort of put their themes together and articulate how they want to create the beat and so forth. And then from those 5 schools, we ended up getting a 2-year contract through Whanau. So all of that was real organic, and that was for another 12 schools. And so from that point, we created a trust, which we now have a trust now that has picked up those programs again, and we've called it Tunuma Creative. We're just looking around at philanthropic funding to try and sort of use music as a vehicle to kind of to empower and engage young people. And it's not just young people, but I feel anyone that has an interest in music. I mean, all of us, when we go in our car, we turn the radio on, we listen to our favorite music. So whether you're a musician or an artist or not, everyone has some sort of relationship with music, universal. But I don't think we've really truly sort of tapped into kind of finding the interface or the synergy between mental health and music, or disability and music, so I feel like the whole creativity in music and the artistry side of it, it can really be quite innovative in a way to kind of bring about social change, or whatever type of change you're looking for. It just we just haven't really sort of tapped into the power of it.
Innovation, Larry. You were because I remember there was you actually did some work around mental health, and you actually created music too with that. With there was a mixture of men's health and New Zealand. Was it Transform for You? And So how did that go with the old ones?
That was quite an experience, because generally within schools, you've got a concentrated group of maybe 10 to 15 kids, the teachers in support, and you've got a sort of a dedicated time frame. But what I found with that program, which was had some dynamics, so you're working with 50 people all in one go. It's quite a lot of numbers to kind of manage, and then you've got different age groups, pretty much everyone is there for the training, but we've got an hour window before we actually train to kind of talk through that. And, sometimes, you get the sense not everyone is, time is precious for everyone. So that 1 hour or whatever, Yeah, just sometimes there's buy-in with everyone and not so, but we managed to get sort of a really good theme out of it, some good music, sort of melody and a beat that was created, and then the video that was shot. I think it whittled down to probably around about 20 people by the end of it, but it was awesome. It was awesome to have that experience with our sort of T4U family, and but definitely one thing I learned is smaller groups are definitely helpful to kind of get sort of better discussions, in dialogue.
There was discussion. I could go into that because you would have just pulled back and then just get their understanding, and then their ideas came in. So that's how you created your song.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And that was really cool because we were able to kind of get that sort of ownership and buy-in from everyone. And but COVID was another sort of kind of barrier as well. I mean, we started off well, and then we ended up getting locked down, start back again. But again, I think the principle around sort of engaging people through the power of music is something that I still feel we're still exploring, haven't really tapped into it.
Yeah. Nice. I guess if we pull back from music, and then looked at in terms of Leo'o TJ is New Zealand-born Matai, because probably that's another discussion. In terms of there's a lot of us that are born here, Australia, America as well, that have been given titles, and it's okay for the ones who have the paramount ones or the elite titles, but more so the ones who have the tūlā whale. So I guess for us it's probably, how's that been? How's that journey been for yourself, in terms of the pressures you feel, and maybe people that you sort of lean on to sort of get support from them? It's been I suppose with our the Whale Tui group that we've been involved in with our teacher, Marisala, Luffy, and the guys that we've been journeying with, that has been just pretty much sort of a kind of a game changer for me in terms of being in a kind of a safe environment where you can kind of make the mistakes and talk through different scenarios. And so I think had I not gone through that sort of period of time and then gone into the real situations of whether it was taking a city or a whakakai, or then you kind of you have a point of reference of what are the things that you're kind of looking for or hearing talking about. But I think for me it's always been a confidence thing for me, just because it's almost like we often hear the koingas talk about the whale upolus or the speaking chiefs. It's a game, it's a game, and it's a game of trying to kind of a game of words and with the next guy
and how and so for me in the context of music, I can do that. I can kind of be sort of the showman and actually talk and and facilitate the music space. And I always try to think maybe it's just a matter of transferring that into that space. But I think what I found is it's not one of those things where you can kind of just learn something on one day and then drop it. It's kind of has to be kind of embedded in your everyday practice, And I feel like when I look at yourself, guys, I inspired when I listen to you're in environments like church, Methodist church, or even within the Ep4 setting where every weekend there's going to be opportunities to kind of normalize those things, So for me, if you're not in that setting, then the only other setting is if it's not real time, real life examples, then it's kind of like the groups at Whale Tui, and obviously have attendance hasn't been great in the last year or so, but
still there, bro. They're still there.
But I think what I've tried to do now is just take that learning and actually sort of try and normalize it within my work setting,
nice.
If there's opportunities to whatu lima with guests, or do a bit of a welcome or a whakakai, just give what I can sort of do at that point. But then again, when you look at your toolbox, as an analogy, it's really, you've got tools in there already, but sometimes you kind of want to sort of keep filling it up with new tools. And I think that's where I probably need to kind of, and it's just an application of time, mate. Once you sort of apply yourself to sort of learning, reading new material, getting outside of your comfort zone, I think that's where, but it's not an easy thing, man. I
just always like, I find it not strange, but when I just just listening to you around how, like, I know you've performed in front of a lot of people, and then how, and I'd say you wouldn't be too nervous, but then it's totally different when we're doing a cultural and then we're in front of other people. So, yeah, man, that's big pressure coming through there. Eh?
And I think, I mean, with the music side of things, I mean, like a lot of the songs that I sing, I've learnt the songs inside out, so it doesn't matter what genre or style or feel, I can still interpret the song in its essence, whereas I just don't, with the Samoan, speaking and the Matai, I just haven't applied enough time to kind of really fully learn, So, I mean, there's one thing to kind of like rote learn or go look or the side that you do, but then it just takes the other side to kind of, respond differently or to cut you off or
throws you up.
Throws you sort of, and I've kind of, that's happened to me a few times where I've taken a city, for a milieu, and it just takes sort of one sort of thing to kind of put your train of thought out, so I think I just don't give enough time to kind of prepare, but it's one of those things, the whole cultural thing is you never know when those opportunities come, so you can't, almost like you constantly have to keep preparing every day, and then whatever the situation is, I mean, everyone's got different villages, so it's just constantly sort of learning, picking up a few little things,
genealogies
from the genealogy, and it's but no, man, I just I think it's one of those things. As I've been getting older, it's become more important for me, and then getting my kakao was that was part of that journey as well, and so it's a forever kind of learning sort of journey for me as well.
I guess like for some of the our listeners probably around, especially around the tatau, is I touched on in the beginning, is that anxiety of waiting for your moment, you're like, that's when it's you're coming up, so, and that's a different buzz, like the unknown of not knowing what to expect. How was that journey, bro? How was your journey with tatau?
I was it's definitely kind of a mental challenge, eh? Like, I think there are times where you start off because you go through your sections, but you feel like you're kind of in a good rhythm because you think, oh, I've kind of got a good sort of rhythm, but then you go to a different section on your side, and then that pain is a lot different to your back, or to your thighs, or to your knees, and I just felt that as the days went through, it just kind of started to wane. It's the patience and the you just the mental kind of ability to kind of go through the pain barrier, and especially when you're the second guy, because you're always having to catch up. So the first guy is always kind of like he's he does the first thing, but you're sometimes you might miss a day, or it gets to the weekend or the Sunday, so you can't go to the following so I just sort of felt, man, there was a couple of heavy sessions on the legs, where it was like 4, 5, 6 hours, I was just like, man, tough one, but I think wouldn't change it for the world, and being a part of our whaletui, I mean, those are the things that inspire you to think, man, shucks, I'm the only one that doesn't have any dirty knees, black knees, but after sort of a few months and seeing the team and seeing what the importance of what the tatau meant to everyone, that just sort of you can't help but not feel like, well, if that's sort of a patch, if you like, that you need to wear. But, I think for me, it's kind of like, well, now that I have it, it changes your sort of viewpoint on and Luffy would always talk about it as like, once you've done something, that's one under your belt, and also for the better too, when can you use it to serve your family? And so once you've done it, you've go good, and that's one under the belt to kind of continue to sort of serve, and it just, I suppose it just it puts a different sort of perspective on on why you wear it. I mean, I know it can be quite fashionable for a lot of our young people nowadays, but I suppose it's just one of those symbols of Taotua and respect and serving as well. And I think as we get older, we start to kind of see more of the importance of it.
Tough that one's because it's we understand it's massive mental game, and that one, it's always like you prepare yourselves differently for a game, but then you, like you're saying, like there was one pain that you experienced in the session before, but then when you go in, I'm ready. come in and then, I didn't expect that one. It's a different pain again. But, like, bro, for us that have been through the journey, it's I just feel that it's more than your tatau, because it's you probably look at it and go, man, how happy your mum feels, your uncles feel, you know what I mean? Did you see that with the family? Like they're so proud.
100%. I think there's always that sort of element of doubt, from your parents, and not in a negative way, but just like they realize the risk of the shame of not finishing it, and so I think that was always behind my in my head. But just on my dad's side, I mean, I didn't see a lot of my dad or my granddad or my uncles that actually had tataus. Had a few uncles, and my mum's side, was a lot of my mum's brothers and cousins that had them, and so grew up with a few of the uncles that had them, and always knew that I was going to get one. But it was just a matter of when.
It's quite amazing, how that's. I mean, yours is like, obviously all our journeys are different. The ones who've got the tataus, mine was probably from a young kid. I mean, my dad, who has one too, and he just said, like, when you get older, you're going to get one. That kind of stuck in my head. Wow. And I just felt that was my pathway, whether I wanted it or not. And then, it was kind of actually the one I needed a blessing from someone. And when I finally talked to my dad, and then I just said, bro, out of here. And I'm the same as you, bro. Like, I'm either going to be dead or I'm walking out with one, It's like, you have no choice in it either. I guess as well, when we look at that, mental challenges, like especially the environment you work in, if it's not around music, you work with MPP as well. So you're always kind of coming across, I guess, troubles and problems with our PI families. I know that you're on a health journey. I know you're the burpee king. I know you can do a lazy hundy there. No way. But how's that helped, bro? How's that helped in terms of for your well-being? I know music is an outlet for yourself, but I guess being in an environment with transform for you, men's health, where we're using the exercise, man, is just like one to better ourselves, bro, and probably also mentally. How's that working, bro?
I think really good question. When you look at mental health as the overarching theme of this part of our Talanoa, from a musical perspective, obviously you can use music to kind of, help with your own mental health, internally. But I think the magical thing about music is that when you give out and you bless other people, that is sort of helping with your own sort of, it's almost like it's better to give than receive, and so as a music space, when you do someone's wedding, you see the couple so happy, and you play songs, or you play a Samoan song where all the elders are like, man, we didn't expect this from a New Zealand born band. Or, you're reading the crowd, and people are happy, and you're bringing sort of moments where they will never forget, and I suppose from a mental health perspective, for me, that's gratitude, and that's something that I'm really thankful for those opportunities. From a training perspective, I mean, like, weight's always fluctuated over the years, and so being a part of T4U and having, an amazing trainer like Mateo and the environment, I feel like for a lot of us who are training, it's the environment, the culture within that environment that makes you want to keep going back to that space. The training we just do, we're kind of sort of used to it through rugby and try and sort of break through the pain barrier. But I think being able to kind of train together with other like-minded people, and that's all part and parcel of that sort of mental health journey. And so I think like anything where you've got your spiritual, your physical, emotional, all of those things need to be balanced in terms of trying to kind of get a balanced view on life and a sort of a balanced approach to your own sort of mental well-being. I feel like these type of talks as well as brothers, and to be able to kind of talk about things that might be difficult to talk about, but those discussions that can only be had with with usos, whether it's mental health or whether it's music or whakamatai, and for me, I mean, I kind of I look at that's sort of the opportunities and times where I've seen you speak, digressing a bit at the moment, but sometimes I often sort of think, well, there's a kind of a correlation between someone's personality and their character, maybe from their rugby days, and it's really just transferring it to the whamatai, and then so it's almost like I sort of feel like, man, you're kind of like fearless in that space of speaking. So for me, that's something that I kind of want to kind of get to a point where there's that confidence there as well, and it's even in that whakamatai space. I mean, it's even sort of a mental well-being journey as well, because if you do something that's delivered and you feel really, and it didn't go off as well as you would like, it can really weigh on your way. So I think that's why you need, close brothers to kind of encourage you and say, man, hey, it's all good. Everyone has those off days where.
I guess like with one of the other podcasters, Never Given. So it's for us, we've got that attitude. I think you hit it on the head, bro, with around the supporting yourselves. Yeah. Being around like-minded people. Yep. So it's probably the only way you can really grow. But I think, bro, for yourself, with music, and if you do the crossover with the whamatai, it's like, just you already know how to put your energy into it and specific things you need to do. So I think, bro, it will come there. It's just, once again, we always talk about being patient. Being patient is, bro, it's a hard thing to do, easy thing to say, being 100%. Patient is a hard thing. It's with and with the journey with a lot of the men too, with you found that a lot of them open up. How you find a lot of I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be our groups too. Like, do you find that a lot of men naturally open up, or is this is there a trust thing there before they actually?
Yeah. I find with men in general, it's difficult to open up because of the pride, and so we all carry a sort of an element of pride where we feel like, to open up is weakness, and so I feel like if you're in sort of trusted smaller groups, that's opportunities for people to be open. But I guess it's one of those things. If it's a relationship, a relational thing where you've built the relationship over time, people tend to open up. I find guys tend to open up over a couple of quiets as well. Just an environment where
nothing wrong with it.
And you create an environment where you're just listening to good music, having a few drinks, and then all of a sudden it's an opportunity to share. And so, I think it's one of those things that needs to be more focus on it, with men, Talanoa with men, and talking about, particularly with the suicide rates, in New Zealand and with our Pacific and Māori, and so I feel like if there are platforms and opportunities to have these Talanoas, so that other people can relate to where we're at, then I think it's all part and parcel of empowering and encouraging others.
Yeah, I guess it's podcast seems to be the thing that a lot of people are starting to do, which is cool. And so we're starting to get there, which is good, and like I'm just looking at ourselves, like I just asked you last week, and then I said, bro, got an opportunity for you to come in, but man, thanking you for coming in and actually having a chat. And like I said, bro, it was organic chat, and I don't have anything like set up and where we're going to start. Yeah, but I guess just winding down and looking at our discussion today, bro, there was a lot out of that in terms of I love the expression how you're giving something out to someone through your music. I love that, bro. And then how that makes you feel, mentally. And it's probably the same when we're doing our cultural deliveries too. Is like, man, you see how that puts a smile on your mum's face, that puts a smile on your uncle's face. So I never thought of it that way, because you always think you just want to get it done, maybe a bit different in music sense, but I guess with the whamatai, the cultural side, you just want to get it done because you're nervous as heck, bro. Yeah. No, and good listening to your story around the men's health too. Like, keep it up, bro. Like, obviously, me and you are going through the same journey. Just trying to, and like you say, we've been in the environment, we've been in the sports backgrounds, and mentally, it tests you, Mateo's good at testing you, but the end of the day, bro, you don't die from doing those 100 burpees, eh? That's it. But thanks also, once again, bro, I'd love to see you come on and jam a song at some stage, but bro, it's just awesome to have that chat, and like I said, it was organic chat, man. It's good to just be open about things, bro, and thanks for sharing the story, brother.
Oh, no, just thank thank you, Aogamalie, for the opportunity as well. And I'm just encouraged with, with you taking the sort of the step out with your business as well, and pushing these opportunities as well. So I think it's needed, and I look forward to, more opportunities to come.
Yo, my man.
This one's for you and you and you. And you and you and you. This one's for you and you and you.
Da 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 da.